In a small rural town, a desperate farmer's daughter reached out to Donald Trump for help, and his response shocked everyone. With her father's farm on the brink of collapse, Emily's bold plea sparked a chain of events that would change her town forever. Want to know how it all unfolded? Watch the full story now. In a small rural town, nestled between rolling hills and vast farmlands, the community was used to living a simple, quiet life. The air was fresh, and the sun often bathed the fields in a golden glow. But beneath this peaceful exterior, things weren't as serene as they seemed. For years, the farmers in this town struggled with the effects of changing climate conditions, poor crop yields, and rising debts. Among them was Emily Carter, a 23-year-old farmer's daughter who had grown up working alongside her father on their farm. The farm had been in their family for generations, but as the years went by, the burden of keeping it afloat had become too heavy to bear. Emily's father, Thomas, had worked tirelessly, but every harvest brought more disappointment. The once thriving farm was now at the edge of collapse. Emily watched her father's health deteriorate as he spent long hours in the fields, fighting against nature and the mounting financial strain. She saw the stress in his eyes and the lines that deepened on his face. One afternoon, after another failed crop, Emily knew something had to change. Desperation led her to take a bold step. She knew that the situation had grown dire, and her town needed more than just local support. They needed a change at the national level. Determined to save her family's farm and the livelihoods of the other farmers, Emily made a decision that would change everything. She reached out to none other than Donald Trump, the former president, whose name had always been a source of controversy in their town. But Emily wasn't concerned with political battles. She cared about one thing: getting the help her community so desperately needed. She sent a heartfelt letter to Trump, explaining the challenges the farmers faced and asking for his assistance in securing funding, resources, and government support for struggling agricultural families. It was a simple plea, one that came from the heart of a daughter who just wanted to see her father's hard work recognized and rewarded. Emily's letter quickly made headlines across the country. The story of a young woman reaching out to a political figure for help struck a chord with people far beyond her small town. Some were skeptical about whether Trump would respond, but Emily held on to hope, knowing that if anyone could bring attention to their cause, it was him. A few weeks passed, and just as Emily was starting to lose hope, she received a phone call that changed her life. The voice on the other end of the line was unmistakable. It was Donald Trump himself. "Hello, Emily. This is Donald Trump," he said, his voice deep and calm. "I got your letter, and I want you to know that I'm here to help." Emily's heart raced as she listened, barely able to believe what she was hearing. Trump went on to explain that he understood the struggles faced by farmers and that he was committed to making sure they had the support they needed to survive and thrive. He promised to work with local officials to secure a grant for Emily's farm, as well as other farms in the area. In addition, he pledged to look into long-term solutions that would help ensure the survival of small, family-owned farms across the country. The news spread like wildfire. Emily's phone was flooded with messages, and the local news stations couldn't get enough of the story. People were shocked. Trump's response was exactly what the community needed, but it was also something that no one expected. For many, his willingness to step in and help a small farming town spoke volumes. When Trump's team arrived in the town to deliver the promised aid, the atmosphere was electric. The streets were lined with people, farmers, families, and local residents, eager to see the man who had taken such a personal interest in their plight. Emily's family stood at the front, her father, Thomas, watching the crowd with a mixture of awe and disbelief. Trump arrived with his usual flair, stepping out of a black SUV and waving to the cheering crowd. Emily, nervous but excited, walked up to him and introduced herself. With a firm handshake, Trump looked her in the eye and said, "You did the right thing by reaching out. This is what America is all about, helping each other." The event was filled with speeches, applause, and promises for the future. Trump not only provided the immediate funds to help with the farm's recovery, but he also made plans to work on policy changes that would benefit farmers nationwide. The crowd erupted in applause, and for the first time in years, Emily and her family felt a sense of hope. The shockwaves of Trump's unexpected response rippled throughout the community. What began as a simple act of asking for help turned into a major turning point for the town. Farmers who had once given up on their livelihoods were now optimistic, working together to rebuild what had been lost. With the help of federal support and local initiatives, the town began to thrive again, and the people felt a renewed sense of unity and purpose. Emily became a symbol of hope for her town, showing that sometimes all it takes is the courage to speak up and ask for help. Her actions inspired others to follow suit, and soon, more and more people were coming forward with their own requests for assistance. The town, once struggling, became a model for how communities could overcome adversity by reaching out for support and working together. Though Emily's story began with a single letter, it ended with a changed community and a powerful reminder of the importance of speaking up in times of need. Trump's unexpected response to a farmer's daughter seeking help proved that even in the world of politics, kindness, empathy, and action could make a lasting difference. The people of the small town would never forget the day that Donald Trump, of all people, answered their call for help. And for Emily, it was a day she would remember forever, the day she saved her father's farm, and with it, the future of her entire community. Emily's letter to Donald Trump was more than just a plea for help. It was a call for unity, a reminder that even in the darkest times, one person's courage can spark a change that affects many. The response that followed shocked the entire town, but it also reminded them that sometimes all it takes is asking for help to make a difference. If you were inspired by Emily's courage and the unexpected response that followed, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more real-life stories that show the power of standing up for what you believe in.